All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back for another episode of the Coffee and Cannoli podcast. My voice is still not recovered from my battle with COVID a while back, but we'll make through with it. We are joined today by the Putty Man over on my right and Campo right below. All their stuff will be in the description below. Go on and give them a follow. This episode will be all about games that we want sequels for. They may have had sequels, or they have sequels in the works, or canceled sequels. All depends on whatever your preference is. But these are games personally that we want, that we love, that we still want a sequel for, and we're waiting for to this day. So with that out of the way, since Campo, you're on the bottom, I'm going to have you go first.
Wow. Okay. Number 5, I got Caps. I got Grim Fandango and Dino Crisis.
Yeah. Dino Crisis
Grim
was
Fandango is one of the most underrated games of all time. Or underappreciated, I should say.
Underappreciated, yeah.
Underrated.
And
Dino Crisis, we already had this talk.
Yeah. We had this on the PlayStation talk. But Grim Fandango, that was like peak LucasArts.
That's like arguably the best thing that LucasArts did prior
wasn't
to
wasn't that also Double Fine?
I'm not sure.
The guys who did Brutal Legends, Psychonauts. I think it was the same guys.
Yeah,
too.
it might have been actually.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Double Fine, but it was the guy. I forgot the guy's name, but the guy who did Psychonauts, the bearded guy.
Jimmy Jazz.
Yeah, Joey Jojo.
Joey Jojo something.
All right, Putty, you're number 5.
Okay, so I just want to state, because this is based on what I had already written. I did my list based on games that I want to have a sequel that were planned sequels. So these are not like the top tier list for me. I want to put that out there. Okay.
Yeah.
These are what movies. These games were supposed to get a sequel. They were planned and then they got canceled. So for my number 5, it would be Diddy Kong Racing. It was actually literally planned, and then it never went through. And of course, that's because of the acquisitions of Rare and of all that stuff in Nintendo, which we'll get back to that as well again. So yeah, my number 5 is Diddy Kong Racing.
Yeah, when Microsoft got the rights to Rare, they didn't get the rights to Donkey Kong because Nintendo owns the rights to Donkey Kong.
Nintendo bought the rights off Rare before Rare sold to Xbox.
But then again, you got Banjo-Kazooie in Super Smash. So
yeah, but that's because Microsoft licensed them to that. So,
yeah, same thing with Master Chief.
I mean, it's possible.
It's possible. Never say never, right?
Yep.
Never say never.
I don't know about a full game, but yeah, you never know. Yeah, I think that's gone in purgatory.
My number 5 is Caps, but they kind of go hand in hand, and that's System Shock and BioShock. I want to see a System Shock sequel, but I also want to see a BioShock sequel, something different, continuing the story of Elizabeth.
You know what's funny? Having both BioShocks probably in my top 10 of all time, don't even have that on my list. I probably should, but I mean, I feel like it happened so recently still that I'm not super desperate for it. Unless they go back underwater, then I'll take it. I don't want any more of that in the air stuff. Yeah,
the DLC that they had for BioShock Infinite, Return to Rapture, whereas before it was like destroyed and stuff, that was really, really good.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to see that, maybe kind of that story in between Infinite, because Infinite was technically a prequel. So maybe a BioShock game where you see what happens to Rapture.
Yeah. Hey, I like it.
All right, 2K, give me a call. Capo, you're number 4.
The Godfather. I mean, you got a perfect setup here. Call it The Godfather 3, but I don't want it to be taking place in modern times. I still want it to stay in that thing.
In that era.
I think the setup of The Godfather, especially The Godfather 2, where you could buy almost everything in the city in terms of properties, and you had to work your way up the ranks and build your own mafia and choose the right guys to be on your team. Is like one of the most in-depth things we've ever seen in that type of game, and it got brushed off, I guess, because it's EA and they just don't.
There were such deep mechanics in that game. It was really, really underrated.
A really good game.
And the tagline is, just when I think I'm out, they pull me back in.
Yeah, there you go. Part 3.
All right, buddy, you're number 4.
All right, so I'm going to actually stay on the Rare train again with a character that actually appeared in Diddy Kong Racing and was supposed to get a sequel. And actually, this is why it's higher on my list, because it's a better game, or I just loved it too much. And that is Conker's Bad Fur Day. Again, another rare license that basically, again, this one has more chances though, because Rare does own Conker still, so we could still see that. But it's been in like my number 3. It's been on in purgatory so long that it feels like this is never going to happen. So that's the reason why I put it on the list, because I already knew it was supposed to get a sequel, it just never did. So that would be number 4.
But I could see that happening, especially like with the recent like Super Lucky Tail and Ukulele and platformers like that. I could see them making a comeback with either that or Banjo-Kazooie.
Well, Ukulele is supposed to be Banjo and Kazooie, and it was reskinned to be Ukulele.
Banjo and Kazooie are much more. I mean, I guess more R-rated games are more popular now, but I think even still, I mean, unless, like I said, unless Microsoft is going to be like, hey, listen, we want to go into, we feel Conker has a good audience that will get enough sales. But I think because it's going to put so much work into it, they don't want to play, because it's only going to be adults playing it. Well, I don't know, kids are still going to try to play it, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think what happened with Conker was when Microsoft acquired them and they re-released Conker Reloaded, they censored everything. And I think that's what took away the charm of the game.
It did. Yep.
Well, Conker's actually came around before Bad Fur Day.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the game that popularized him.
Yeah. So I think that's what kind of neutered it. So going on, my number 4, Campo, you mentioned it already. It's Dino Crisis. I want to see a Dino Crisis sequel in the same engine that they're using for Resident Evil 7 and 8. Can you imagine a first-person Dino Crisis in that engine?
And see, I have to agree with you. I actually would love to see that as well. Again, I didn't put it on the list because there's never been a planned sequel. But yeah, if I was to redo my list, 100% Dino Crisis would be on there, because Dino Crisis, actually, in my eyes, a lot of people are always like, I was scared by Resident Evil. Dino Crisis was actually much scarier because you
don't steal my story.
Well, I mean, it's true though.
Don't steal my life story.
Campo lived Dino Crisis, okay?
I was in Jurassic Park, Isla Sorna.
Every one of us know that one scene when that T-Rex comes through that window. Like, that was just like there was no zombie game that would ever compare. And dinosaurs were real at one point, so that could actually be something that could exist.
Like, I could, like, how it could look in like the Unreal 5. Oh
man.
Anyway, well, that was my number 4. Campo, your number 3.
Banjo-Kazooie and Conker's Bad Fur Day.
That's funny. Nice.
There you go.
It's not funny because Conker's was an amazing platformer.
I agree.
And Banjo-Kazooie almost revolutionized a new wave of platformers using the basis for Mario 64, and then had a great
and Donkey
sequel,
Kong 64 as well.
They made 3 bad sequels, I think.
Yeah. And we and with going back to Conker's, like the Mighty Pooh, that was the best song ever.
Yeah, just listen, Conker's understand, and they would sell. South Park is so popular right now, Conker's would sell.
Yeah, the potty humor would totally sell. All right, Putty, number 3.
All right, so my number 3 actually got a trailer for its sequel, and still hasn't come out, and that is Beyond Good and Evil. When are we going to get a sequel to Beyond Good and Evil? We literally have had a trailer.
I think I heard it's been canceled.
See, that's why I made this list. This list of sequels we'll never get, but because they were announced again.
This was 6 years ago now. It's been announced.
Oh my god, I'm so mad that because I loved the first one. I was absorbed. I went through the hard difficulty, and it was so cool because it was like an espionage game with your camera, where you literally like all the time you have these games where you have a way to defend yourself, but with her it was so much different. And then just the visual of it was amazing. You know what I mean? Like, and then seeing the trailer, I was like, okay, so they're gonna up the visuals, but it's still gonna have that same feel. And then we never got it. And Purgatory of that just was horrible.
Yeah.
So
I was this is back when I was still working at Starbucks. One of my customers, he was one of the developers at Ubisoft Toronto. And he worked in like the production department, the mocap department. And I was asking him, I go, so what's the status with Beyond Good and Evil 2? And he's like, don't hold your breath for it. And this is before Far Cry 5.
Jeez.
Yeah. So shout out to Dave. My number 3.
Wow, you just got him fired.
Dave's not even his real name, so it's fine.
Dave's not here, man.
My number 3 just got a remake, but I want to see a sequel to it, and that's Chrono Trigger.
Makes sense.
Because the remake apparently is not.
It's not a remake. It's not a remake.
It's a re-release.
Let's not call it that. It's an exact re-release of the PlayStation 1 game with a smoother graphics, but it's still boxy. It's the same game. I'm super upset that you would even charge $25 for me to buy a game like that when I could just play my copy that I have already. Like it's so dumb. It's upsetting. That's
really it's a little smoother and has a better frame rate. That's about it.
And then watch, and then in a year from now, they're going to re-release like the Final Fantasy VII version, and you're going to have to pay again to play it.
And that one's going to be $90.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I want a sequel, a proper sequel to Chrono Trigger. Campo, you're number 2.
Eleanor.
Yeah,
absolutely. Why that seems so obvious?
That was my top honorable mention.
I've been watching videos of it from the remastered version of people like doing things on it, like always saying no or always saying yes to people, and like the fact that they were able to do facial graphics like that, it's even more mind-boggling than the last time we did the video, and that's all I complained about the whole time about how amazing that was. It's so crazy that we still aren't doing that now. We don't even. There's no game right now that has facial recognition of that caliber from a game from like 10 years ago.
Yeah. And instead of in LA, can you imagine like a New York City cop noir drama?
You could do it anywhere. You could do Chicago, you could do whatever. And you could change the city, right? It doesn't matter. This could be an ongoing series where you just keep changing the city.
Yeah. That it would be I'd love to see like a New York or a Chicago noir.
There was so much detail in that game, and everything you do and every person you do or do not interview changes the way that the game plays.
It's also how you ask the questions too, or how you react to the questions. It was cutting edge at the time. And yeah, you're right. I haven't seen anything. That was my top honorable mention.
It's almost like playing Dungeons and Dragons or something, where every little thing you do changes the outcome of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. Putty, number 2.
All right, my number 2, again, on the train of games that got announced, never got released, would be 13. I know you guys remember 13, the way it looked, the visual, the way the game was. They were planning to make a sequel to 13, and then it just never got off the ground. Like it was one of those things, just like Beyond Good and Evil, where it kept on just getting pushed back, and then I think no one even talked about it anymore. Like,
because the remake bombed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I couldn't remember why it never got released, but I just know it just kind of
the remake bombed because they took away that cell shaded charm that the first game had and made it look like Borderlands, basically.
See, I didn't know that. I never even played the remake, so
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
That's my.
So there was a remake of 13. Yeah, but yeah, no, it was a great game though. It was fun. I enjoyed that. But my number 2, we were talking about this in the Discord earlier. It's Force Unleashed. I need a third one. Now that LucasArts has been reopened, and I know it's not canon anymore, but do an alternate timeline, I guess. Call it an alternate timeline and do a Force.
Why does it? This is an issue I have now, even with like the Marvel games, because the Marvel Avengers game and the Guardians game are not canon. But they've released a statement saying that everything they do from now on will be canon. And it makes no sense to me. It's a video game. Just do something.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. First off, that's my honorable mentions as well as another one that we haven't gotten to yet. And that's because for that one, the reason I didn't put it in my actual list is because I was trying to go for actual like sequels number 2. But I put it on because I wanted to talk about it. And I'm glad you brought it up because I remember how Force Unleashed 2 ended. I was like, oh, so then I heard they were going to make one. Then it didn't. Then the acquisition.
Yeah, the acquisition happened. Yeah,
everything just happened. I'm like never. And I actually understand 2 wasn't as good as 1, but it was leading into something special. And it's like I'm upset. I'll never understand what happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like think about it. Like at the end of spoilers for a 15-year-old game now, but at the end of 2, Vader's clone apprentice Starkiller captures him, and they take him off to a prison. Can you imagine starting the Force Unleashed 3, playing as Darth Vader and just destroying this prison with all this OP, and then they switch over to Starkiller and you're like basic power again and you have to go after him?
Well, that would be the Kashyyyk situation. Remember Kashyyyk when you're literally taking down Kashyyyk and you're like destroying all these Wookiees and everything. It's like it was amazing. Like the power you felt in that one part of the game was so amazing, and that's why I feel a lot of people miss out on Force Unleashed, because even though Force Unleashed 2 didn't have a good story like the first game in my eyes, it still had the gameplay element that was so fun because you felt like I still haven't found any Star Wars game that really, because I know the new one is the Old Republic, or the one that came out that was with the little robot and the kid. I can't think of his name now.
Fallen Order.
Fallen Order. I feel like Fallen Order was trying to have that same feel as Force Unleashed, but I think the reason Force Unleashed was better is because it had the dark side powers that felt way more visceral and fun. You know what I mean? Like holding that lightsaber backwards was a way that you've never seen any character hold the lightsaber. You know what I mean? So it gave it its own, what's the word I'm looking for? Like its own
personality, its own charm.
Exactly. Yeah. And I don't feel like we're ever going to get that again because outside of having to copy that. So like I would even love if they remastered 1 and 2 and then gave us 3. Like maybe do that.
Oh, they are. I mean? Remasters coming out for the Switch.
I gotta get a Switch. God damn, I gotta get a Switch.
Yeah, the Force Unleashed remasters. I'm already reserved my copy, so that's coming.
I didn't know. I wish it'd come to the PS.
Eventually, I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will eventually.
I hope so. Anyway.
Remastered. Anyway, yeah. Campo, you're number 1.
Guess.
Bully.
Yes.
Wrong. Putty. Guess.
That's what I was gonna say. Is Bully. I don't know.
All right. Chrono Trigger.
That was my next guess. Yeah.
The reason I didn't pick Bully at all on this list is because it's too obvious, and the story of Bully doesn't need anything else. The world of Chrono Trigger needs so much more exploring. It's crazy that I just don't get it. We talk about this too much. I'm not even going to talk about it. It makes no sense to me.
I think we've talked about Chrono Trigger in like 10 episodes now.
You've explored Final Fantasy to the limits, and every single time it's a new world. Like, but like, why didn't you ever do this with this franchise, which was just as popular?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I don't know,
because there was Chrono Cross that had nothing to do with.
No, I know it's not the same. Chrono Cross is the one that got the remake, by the way, not Trigger.
Chrono Trigger, yeah. Chrono Cross, which was still a good game.
Yeah, it was very good, but it wasn't the same.
No, but it would be like comparing Final Fantasy 4 and Final Fantasy 6. They're both great games, but they're 3-6, yeah.
Okay, 3-6.
But I mean, they're both great games, but like they're different games completely.
Yeah, but like you can go back right now and turn on a Super Nintendo and play 3-6 or Chrono Trigger, and you still will be blown away by those games.
Yeah, like I mean, like that's the first time I think that's the first time they used Toriyama art, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so.
Like when all the characters are drawn by Toriyama, that was something big because that was right in Japan when like Dragon Ball was starting to really take off and just starting to gain some traction here too.
Mm-hmm.
So to see, I agree. Like it was on my list, so like you know how I feel about it too. My JRPGs, gotta love them. Excellent choice, Campo. Excellent choice, Putty.
All right. So my number 1, I will say this right now. When it comes to every game that we said here, because of the company or the people that made the game, they haven't released it. But the thing is there's still opportunity for these at least to get a sequel. This game will never get a sequel because the creator is a crybaby and decided to stop it and it's no longer making video games just because of the fans.
Fez.
You named it right there. Jade named it right there.
I knew right away.
I'm so mad that Fez is not going to. You don't understand. That was one of those games. Remember how I told you I play puzzles and I get so excited when I discover things? I actually was using my phone. I solved that stuff and made a video on it and everything and put it on Facebook before I was able to do YouTube. I was so proud of myself when it came to puzzle games that I solved a lot of that stuff. And I have stuff online that I posted back when Fez first came out that I'm a part of that community that helped solve puzzles for Fez online. So when you become part of something so special, you want to continue that specialness to it. You know what I mean? Because I felt it was when I first got my PS4, and or not first, but I had got my PS4. It was one of my first games. I literally did everything I can on it. And I remember even when I did the QR code and did all that stuff, like with the whole top view that you did in the game and everything. When I found that, like I felt like I found a hidden secret that was only special to me. Of course, I found it online. Everyone else found out about it. But you know, when we start putting the puzzle together to do all that stuff, it was still so amazing to be part of that community, and then to follow along like, oh boy, another one's coming out. Oh boy. And I bought it early on, and then for him to be a crybaby, I witnessed all that firsthand.
Yeah,
and I was so mad. Like I know when it comes to video games, I get heartbroken, or if a movie that never gets made, but that was one of those moments. Like I felt like I like a girlfriend broke up with me. I've never felt that way about a video game before, and Fez was one of those games because I loved it so much. I enthralled myself so much in it, and I'm just so upset that I'm never going to get to be able to continue that story, and that's why it's number one.
Even just like the way slight things like changing perspective and stuff like that. That was just, it was so innovative. It was
the QR. That's how I found the QR code, because they even had you go into first person view.
Yeah.
There's and what people don't realize, if you don't understand, because I know a lot of people are like, what is Fez? Fez is
it's a little red hat that no.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's an actual Fez. But the game is basically like an 8-bit game that where you can actually turn and manipulate the world to where, for example, there may be a tree off a distance, but you can actually bring the tree to you closer by manipulating the world. It was such an innovative idea to using an 8-bit game to make something new that when you had to find certain puzzles, you had to turn things in a certain way to get position. And even the QR code was in that way. We had to turn in a certain position and add things up to put everything together. Even when you put the heart pieces and all this stuff, everything had an element to it that when you discovered something, you felt like you discovered something that only you discovered. Even if other people found it, it was still special because, like, oh my God, I figured out. Like, I still have somewhere. It's on my old computer. I still have all that coding. You know, the little hieroglyphics and everything. I still have all that typed out and written out because I was literally typing everything out and then like drawing it out and doing everything I can to make sure it looked like it was. It was obsession. I was like crack. I'm gonna be honest with you, it was crack, and I'm so mad I'm not gonna be able to enjoy that in a sequel. So
gamer crackheads.
I know I went on about it, but it's like
I mean I agree. And then games that came out after it, like Hollow Knight, Shovel Knight, all those games owe so much to that game.
But at the same time, I love Hollow Knight. I have those. I even still play from Meat Boy and what was it called? The Binding of Isaac. Like these
Celeste is another good one like that.
Exactly. But the problem is there's nothing I feel is ever going to have what Fez did for me personally. Because even though a lot of people say they love Fez, it did something personal for me. And when you do something that close to make me feel like I'm part of something special, and then you
what did it do to you, buddy?
No,
show me where it touched you.
It took him to the park at night behind the tree.
Maybe call it daddy. But anyway,
whoa, wait.
I had to make a joke. But anyway, I'm just trying to get everyone to understand how special that was to me. And it was so sad to see him as a creator be such a bitch because people wanted him to make the sequel. And then he was like, he didn't get his way and things. And it's like, come on, you're a creator. You're part of the public.
But I mean, you're an indie developer too. Just make it the way you want to make it. Don't care what
exactly.
Anyway,
but it's still, we would still get the sequel even if it's the way you made it. We're not getting nothing. He literally said, "I'm done." And if you see it online, like he crybaby that Stucker out. Like it was a bad breakup. But anyway,
well, my number one, I'm going back to those JRPGs, Square, all that. It's Legend of Dragoon.
I love that you said that. I wish now. See, I would have put that on my list if it wasn't not mentioned.
But the Legend of Dragoon, that's one of those RPGs. I think it was Square as well, wasn't it? Or
no,
Enix?
actually, no, it wasn't Square. Actually, I'm pretty sure it wasn't Square. We'll have to Google that because I remember distinctly looking at it and I'm like, this felt like a Final Fantasy, but it was made by somebody else. It might have been Enix. I don't know. It wasn't Enix.
Before the merger.
Yeah. Anyway, my point to the thing is I know it wasn't Square because I looked at it thinking, oh, this has got to be made by the same company, Final Fantasy. It isn't. Like, I feel like it's some obscure company like Atlas or something like that. I can't remember now, but I know it was an obscure company.
No, I don't think it was Atlas. Atlas was making the Shin Megami and things back then.
I don't remember, but I just don't remember. All I know is it was either way. I'm taking over your number one.
Yeah, that's okay. No, it's fine. But Legend of Dragoon, that's a great one. Like you can't go. What's up, Campbell? You were gonna say something?
No, I'm just making hand signals.
Yeah, I know. That's and that's funny. I was gonna say none of us had Bully on our list. I think that was a little too obvious, right?
Well, I actually have it on my honorable mentions, but here's the thing. I told you I was making a list of ones that they said they were planning to make sequels. I've never heard.
They were. It was in the plans. Yeah.
Okay, that's why I put it on.
It's still in the plans.
Just like GTA 6.
GTA 6 is actually being made. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's true. That's true. Okay, but I didn't know Bully was actually going. I didn't know they actually had plans to make Bully too. So I would have put it on my list. I think again it was the same thing, too obvious. But again, these 5 I put on my list. They were very good games.
I just didn't want to pick Bully. I didn't want to talk about Bully again.
That was kind of the same thing, me too. I think we talked too much about Bully.
I think we talked too much about that one already.
Chrono Trigger's now off the table. So
that's another one. So Campo, you want to go through your list one more time?
Yeah, I got Grim Fandango and Dino Crisis at 5, The Godfather at 4, Banjo-Kazooie and Conkers at 3, LA Noir at 2, Chrono Trigger 1.
Putty?
Okay, number 5, Diddy Kong Racing. Number 4, Conker's Bad Fur Day. Number 3, Beyond Good and Evil. Number 2, 13, and number 1, Fez.
Number 5 was BioShock, System Shock, either one. Number 4 is Dino Crisis. Number 3 was Chrono Trigger. Number 2 was The Force Unleashed. And number 1 was Legend of Dragoon. Let's head into some honorable mentions then.
I'm going first.
Yeah, go ahead, Campo.
A Super Mario RPG. I know the Paper Mario series is technically the
spiritual successor.
Yeah, but it's not the same game at all.
No.
I want to walk around with a group of dudes from the Mario universe. I want Gino,
Pasquale.
Yeah, Squally, Luigi. Just give them all Italian names, and I
Vincenzo.
No, but that's what I want. I want to be able to have 4 Super Mario characters and venture through a world that we've never experienced really other than in Super Mario RPG. Because when you play the games, you can see things, but you're always closed off in these little spaces, where Odyssey kind of gave you more, but still every world you go to, there's only a certain amount of space you can go through. And I feel like when you're playing a real RPG, you have a big overworld map and you have to trek through this whole thing to get to where you're going. And that's what I want. And you could do it so easily.
Yeah. Now they could too. Like the ability is there. Like, yeah, I understand that Odyssey, like, to be fair, like everybody's raving on Odyssey. I played it and it's good. Don't get me wrong. And maybe we can do this as a list for later, that games that everybody loved that you didn't like. But I was with Odyssey. That was me. Like, yeah, I had fun, but I actually had more fun playing Super Mario 3D World and like Bowser's Fury than I did.
But that 3D World is also an amazing game.
It is. But even Bowser's Fury was so much fun.
Yeah, but no one ever talks about that.
Yeah, but it gets lumped in with 3D World on the Switch. But yeah, Odyssey, like I said, like it was okay. I was just expecting more. Like when Odyssey was released, I was expecting something on the scale of like Breath of the Wild was the system seller, and I thought Odyssey would have been the same thing, but it wasn't for me. But I think Super Mario RPG, I think that could that was Square too, wasn't it?
Yeah, Square was part of that.
Yeah, so yeah, buddy, what's some honorable mentions you got?
I actually don't have any more other than what you guys listed, but I will say, since we talked about how we were making what we would like, I know there's a few I want. For example, I just mentioned it when we were talking about it, so that's why I mentioned with Fez, The Binding of Isaac. I am addicted to Binding of Isaac. I still pick it up. Like if I'm going in between games, I've got time to kill, I will jump in there. Like I was talking to your brother, John, it was about a week ago, and me and him were talking. As I'm talking, I'll throw some Binding of Isaac on while I'm talking to him. You know what I mean? That's one of those games you could just jump in and play. And I want something that has more of a, I want, because I feel like because the company is like we're doing good things with that, and of course Super Meat Boy, that they would have the opportunity to actually make another one. And it just, outside of the DLC, I feel like we're not going to get anything like that. So yes, make us a brand new Binding of Isaac, maybe update the graphics, make it a way more vast world. Because with the power we have now with video games and even like mobile phones, you can even do it. Yeah. You can have those randomly generated worlds be way bigger and have way more secrets. So that's one of the ones I would love for myself, even though it hasn't been announced. Again, my honorable mentions are going to be the ones I want personally, and that's one of them, Binding of Isaac.
Okay. Good choice. I'm going to the Western RPG direction now, and I'm going with BioWare, and I'm going with Jade Empire. Like every BioWare game, Dragon Age, Mass Effect, Knights of the Old Republic, all these BioWare RPGs got sequels. why did Jade Empire never get a sequel?
That's actually a really good question.
Like that
One
was
that
like
I can't answer.
right. It's like it was one of the first like choice like it paved the way for games like Dragon Age and Knights of the Old Republic with morality choices. The choices you make affect the story, affect the ending you get. That was one of the first. Like I would say, was that before? I don't know. It was kind of around the same time as Fable, I'm guessing, but it was like same idea though, where the choices that you make affect the world around you. And that's a game we never got a sequel to, which I think deserves a sequel.
I agree.
Campo, got any more?
Oh, I got a lot. Well, I had Legend of Dragoon.
Yeah.
I had Diddy Kong Racing, but the reason Diddy Kong Racing was actually originally on my list, but I took it off because it's not going to happen, and I don't want to really think about a game I want that's not going to happen, like PT Part 2.
Right.
But I'll shout that one out for Buddy. But okay, so I have two that I actually want. I want a Rayman. I want another Rayman. I would love. What's the other guy too? Oh my god!
I was gonna say Block because I love Block.
There was Rayman and there was another guy at the exact same time.
Gex.
Oh my god! Why do you say things, Putty? You just confused me. Anyways, that's Rayman for now. I have another one. We'll come back.
Not the Rabbids.
No, there's Rayman and there was a guy. He's a little guy, Beautiful Joe.
Oh, Beautiful Joe.
Oh,
yeah,
course,
totally.
Yeah.
Or even Comic Book Zone or whatever it was called.
Comic Zone.
Yeah.
Do a game exactly like that, but with modern style graphics as a 2D platformer.
Yeah.
And just make it look like that. You know how easy that would be for them to slap together?
Yeah. I agree.
Now with technology, you could build a 2D platformer in like months. Literally no problem.
I like that idea.
Thanks.
That's a fantastic idea. I want a sequel to I want a Tony Hawk Underground 3.
Okay.
Specifically Tony Hawk's Underground, because like as fun as like the original Tony Hawk games were, and we got the 1 and 2 remaster, 3
you
and
want
4.
The open world skate around.
Yeah, doing missions, that kind of stuff where you have mission givers, like, you know, just causing mayhem in the city. Like, say what you will about Underground 2, like that game was so much fun. Like I had a lot of fun.
The strategy of that, where it's like, okay, I talk to the bum, he says do this, and when I fail the mission, I don't have to restart the game. I'm literally just in the world still, and I just have to go back to him.
Yeah,
like that was my issue with Tony Hawk. The other ones is that
you have 2 minutes.
You have 2 minutes, and then you got to restart the game every time. You can't just go back and just continue doing what you're doing
unless you keep your combo going. It's over.
Yeah, exactly.
So you always like that. My strategy in those Tony Hawk games was always leave your big combo for the end.
Yeah.
And then it's like all of a sudden you have like 150K combo and then you mess up and like game over.
My favorite thing is if you're in a situation, just manual. Yeah.
Oh, manual was the best thing they added to Tony Hawk. You can link manual and revert.
Yes.
Well, you need to revert to do it. So
yeah. So, but yeah, I want to see a Tony Hawk Underground. I want to see a Brutal Legend 2.
I do too.
I was waiting for someone to say that. I don't really like the first game, but
it's very much a tower defense game, but the story was really, really cool. And like had all the metal icons in that game. Yeah.
Brave Young Jables.
Can you imagine like doing, instead of like Jack Black, you bring in like, you can bring in Jack Black, bring him back, bring in like Dave Grohl.
I want a Tenacious D game.
I do too. Dude, you could do
what if Brutal Legend 2 is Tenacious D?
And the Pick of Destiny.
Right? Like, I mean, Dave Grohl comes in as Satan. Like,
I was just gonna say that.
Like, I think that would be great.
They would get, because remember, it's now not the pick. Remember, it's the Bonga Destiny now. So they literally could use that, implement that to a game, and that would be amazing.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, you know, it's you know, you start off as a character called Wonder Boy, right? Like it's like there's so many ways you can, right? So there's so many. I would like to see a proper sequel to Brutal Legend, a Brutal, but less tower defense and more story. More. What if you make like a Brutal Legend, like more like a Dark Souls type of game?
Where they use no more Dark Souls games.
Come on, I see what he's saying, because imagine using your actual guitar axe as an actual axe, and maybe throw it around, and maybe even do some wrists and like, and you like.
I think if you make it to like that type of game, like kind of Zelda-ish, kind of Shadow of Mordor-y, but it's still like playful and colorful. That kind of works. And then you could do the spin-off Baby Sass, where Sasquatch is his daddy and he's going to protect him.
Sasquatch is. I like that. Campo, any more?
Yeah, I do. I have one more for sure that I wrote down. Jet Force Gemini. I mean, I said a lot of Rare games, but Rare is arguably the best company of all time that just stopped making games, even though they still exist.
I'm about to go into another company that does it because there's other companies that kind of do the same thing.
Valve,
but the amount of IPs that Rare has is unmatched to how many games they make now.
If you go and play Rare Replay, like the amount of IPs that they have in that game.
Blast Core, you could do a new Blast Core.
Yeah.
You could do Jet Force. You could do a new Mischief Makers. You could do a new Conkers.
Yeah,
everything. There's so many.
A new Banjo, like
it's crazy how many things they own that were extremely popular or have great cult followings that they've never even tried to make another game of it.
Like I know there's a remake or a reboot of Perfect Dark in the works.
Perfect Dark. What's the one that Putty loves?
Putty?
There's a game, not Perfect Dark. Oh my god, I never remember things. I'll figure it out. Just continue.
Okay.
By Rare, or was it?
I don't know if it's by Rare. It came to my head.
Oh, okay, yeah. See, that's all I'm thinking about is Rare. So now I got to think outside that.
Well, yeah. While you're looking it up, I'm going to throw Turok out there. I would like to see another Turok.
I would, but like there was a lot of Turoks, and like they weren't really that good. You would need to do it right.
Yeah, I agree.
I have a few that come to mind too as well.
Go ahead, buddy.
Well, you already said one that I was actually going to talk about, which is Portal 3. I want Portal 3 so badly. I literally made an April Fool's video. That's my biggest video on my YouTube channel. I want a Portal 3.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, exactly. It's a shameless plug for a video that's been out, 3 or 4 years now. Anyway, but then we're talking about another company that has a lot of brands that they don't put out.
Buddy's like the Mick Foley of this show. Cheap pop.
Yeah, but he could take a chair off the head.
Well, I mean, just you mentioned Valve, so I was like, that's the only reason why I even have a career. I feel like in that way right now. But anyway,
yeah.
But I want to say this. Another one with Sega that I feel like would get a lot of love if they remade it, and everyone loved it. There was never a time that this game was bad. Why can't we get a new Crazy Taxi?
Hey,
Simpsons
run. Yeah, I was just about to say that. Yeah,
up on my phone.
But that's my point, though. Crazy Taxi was the one that made it, and I mean, I remember there's so many music brands you could use right now that have that hype music, just like the from I'm forgetting the name of the artist. Yeah.
Oh, The Offspring.
Yeah, The Offspring. Like there's plenty of artists that have that like that Offspring feel or that hype music that they could use while you're doing Crazy Taxi. The voice work, you can get plenty of voice actors that could do great lines for that role.
And I just yell one out: Skies of Arcadia.
Yeah. That's a good one.
I can't believe I forgot about that.
Believe me,
Vagrant Story.
Yeah, Vagrant Story is a good one too. Parasite Eve. That's the one, Putty.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yes. I would. Instead of a sequel, I want a remake of that. A full on
I agree.
Of that. Kind of like what they did with. If Capcom can do it with RE2 and RE3, why can't they do it with Parasite Eve?
Well, the reason I didn't think about
another one. Okay, Capcom and Konami. I know when I called out Rare, you guys are sitting on gold mines.
They did release Battletoads a few years ago.
Because that's what we wanted was Battletoads, the hardest game ever made.
It was fun though.
When I was saying there was another one in my head, that was actually by Capcom, and I'm glad you went to that because the thing is I'm thinking of Power Stone. I want another Power Stone game.
Power Stone.
Like, why not get these are games that people don't know about, and I guarantee you, if we brought them back out now, because of the whole Smash being a big deal, Power Stone would get a little love, especially if we can update the graphics.
Bring back JRPGs.
Yeah, good JRPGs.
Yeah, just bring it back because in the North American market, maybe they're coming out in Japan. We're not getting them anymore.
Yeah,
every game we get is
Final Fantasy,
Ghost of Tsushima. I'm not complaining.
No,
but every game is that game, just an open world sandbox where I have slight little things I have to level up. But the Souls
Bloodborne type of game.
And there's not really any mistakes you can make. Like I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima right now, the PS5, and I've basically. I'm not even done the game, but I've 100%ed everything that I've come in contact with to the point where my guy's maxed out. and I still have half the game left, and there's no reason now. I just walk into groups of 500 people and kill everybody in like 2 seconds.
Like when you do the standoff and the
yeah, like at least in like those old series, like what's the new game called? Sorry, that new game that's
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring. You can make bad decisions that affect you later by choosing stats that are incorrect, or like Diablo, you put things on the wrong stuff. In these games, like Far Cry, whatever, you can't make any mistakes. You just get more points later and put it on the other things. Yeah, it's like, okay, let's just continue.
You just max out everything.
Yeah,
well, it's like right now I'm playing Yakuza Like a Dragon. Yeah, and it plays a lot like those old JRPGs. It's a lot like they even make reference to it where he says his favorite game was Dragon Quest. Dragon Warrior 1 was what it was called here in North America until they changed it back. But he makes reference to it. And that game plays like an old school JRPG where you have job classes. You have to level up the job classes and on top of leveling up yourself. But the problem is it's so grindy that like by the time
I like grindy.
Yeah. Because it's very grindy. Go play it then. Play it then.
Why you like grindy? I'm playing Diablo 2 for like the 5th time in my life. Like,
okay,
that's only grindy.
Then you know what? Go play. It's a great game. It's a funny story. I suggest you play it with English subtitles, but with the actual Japanese, because the English voice actors are terrible.
But that makes it funnier sometimes.
Really? How are you playing Ghost of Tsushima? Are you playing it with English subtitles?
English with subtitles. I always have subtitles on. So
see, I always have subtitles, but I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima in Japanese with English subtitles.
But this is my issue that I have, and like other people will feel my pain. As someone who's very into doing all my stuff with social media, I'm very busy with that. So every single time I get to a cutscene, my controller's down and I'm on my phone. So I'm listening to what they're saying, right? The subtitles are on so that when I'm playing in game and I miss something they say, I can just read it on the screen.
Yeah.
Because like I don't watch the videos. I hate that. If it was up to me for a lot of games, especially like certain things, like a lot of the story in Ghost doesn't matter. It's like the main storyline. Okay, I'm following that, but like the side missions, I don't care what this guy's doing and why I have to do this. And I have to watch a 10-minute video every time. You can't skip anything.
Yeah.
I don't like that. A lot of modern games, you can't skip anything. And the story that you're telling me is a side mission of a side mission of a side mission of a side mission that doesn't affect anything.
Some old lady in a village lost her hat or something.
But I have to sit here for 20 minutes while you tell me the history of your hat. Like, who the hell cares?
It's true though. But that's all. Like, I mean, it's a lot of Japanese games are like that.
That game's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, Like a Dragon is the same way. It's like, here's a dungeon. You'll do that for 3 hours, but then here's a 3-hour cutscene.
Yeah.
Right?
The beginning of Ghost. Listen, I'm starting to play that game. We're way off topic, but
that's okay.
In the beginning of that game, all I did was complain to people who had played it about how boring it was, and like I'm not into it until they finally stopped force missioning me. Because for the first like hour, 2 hours of the game, you're forced into missions. You don't get to choose. You have to just do that. And it was so much talking, and the story was so boring. I was like, who cares?
Yeah.
But then it kind of resets. It hits a reset point.
After you pass that, after you get your sword from the village, after you do that stealth mission.
It's more, okay, so you fight a Mongol boss to get your uncle back, and you can't beat him.
Yeah.
And you get knocked over into the river, and then like the whole story resets where now you have to start over again. Because it's like, well, you just made me 2 hours gathering all these things and it didn't even matter. I was like, what the hell is the point of that?
Yeah, it was a prequel to the game. In the game.
But that's like my issue that I had with Red Dead 2, right? Which was even worse. It was like 6 hours of watching nothing until you got to do anything. And I was like,
with Red Dead, it was like until you're out of the snowy mountains, the game is so closed off.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And even for a little opening part of when you get into like the desert area, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and Valentine.
It's still kind of like that. And then I didn't want to do missions anymore. I was just killing people and trying to get away, and you can never get away.
No. And if you cross into the old map from the original Red Dead before the end of the game, you're like automatic 6-star wanted, and like they'll kill you in an instant.
Yeah. Jeez.
Which that's half
Putty,
the game.
From you played it, right, Putty?
I didn't beat it. That's the problem. I didn't beat it.
1 star in GTA is like I drive around for 30 seconds and the cops are gone. In that game, they're gonna chase you forever for
I already know this.
Yeah, until you go to the post office and pay your bounty off.
Yeah,
they will chase you mercilessly.
Oh no, what's the worst thing that's happened to me is when you don't have the money to pay off your bounty, and then you're wanting to pay off your bounty, you're getting chased, and you're going to the town, and suddenly you got more people because it's a town now, and you're like, "Fucking leave me alone!" Like I remember there's so many times.
See, I had lots of money in that game because I got when it first came out, there was that infinite gold glitch, and I made there was an infinite gold glitch in one of the you would open a thing, load your save, reopen it, but you would keep the gold from previously. And it was infinite gold bars, and I ended up with $3 million.
Yeah, I never got to experience it. Unfortunately, I was one of those.
I deleted it off my system pretty quickly.
I did too, unfortunately. See, you can ask your brother. I was like, we went on the campaign online. Like everyone was like, "Oh, we know Putty wants to. He really wants to play it." And I played it because I talked about Red Dead Redemption 1 and Revolver so much. I was like, I can't wait for this, and it was such a letdown. It was so sad.
Anyways,
other than that, back on topic. Putty, you were saying about Portal 3. I want to see a Half-Life 3. I'm still waiting for Half-Life 3. I need the rest of Gordon Freeman's story. Not Gordon Gortrail.
I'll take a Team Fortress 3.
Yeah. Orange Box 2.
They just don't know how to count to 3.
No, Valve does not. No. The thing is, to avoid 3, Valve had Half-Life 2, Half-Life 2 Part 1, and Half-Life 2 Episode 2.
They literally purposely avoided saying 3, for some reason.
They never did. They never did. Left 4 Dead 3.
You know what you do? Just make Half-Life 4. Just skip.
That's what they did. That's what they did with Back 4 Blood. Back 4 Blood.
Yeah,
they need to stop this.
Which is essentially what it is. It's basically a spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead. Back 4 Blood.
Yeah, Left 4 Dead? Oh my god.
Oh my god. I see what you did there.
Why is it never Left 3 Dead?
I remember the thing too is a severed hand. Yeah, I like
4 hands. I said it was 4
fingers. Any more Campo, Putty?
No, I'm good.
Yeah. I mentioned I do have one thing I want to say because I don't know if I ever make a video for this, so I want to put it out there. I have a dream game if it's okay for me to shout this out.
Sure, throw it out there.
I actually made how sometimes people make fan stuff. I actually made a fan thing because I was like, dude, this would be perfect. And I actually did pictures comparing each of the character. With Smash being a big game, I don't know if we're gonna get any more sequels. Probably are because it's such a big game. But why not even capitalize on the success of a certain hedgehog? And because they've already done Mario and Sonic at the Olympics, why not give us Super Smash Brothers Nintendo versus Sega? Sega has so many.
Or just do a complete Sega game. There's so many Sega characters.
But that's what I'm talking about. You can imagine the Sonic versus Mario, Tails versus Luigi, but then you can have obscure characters you'll have
Shenmue?
Characters from you get Shenmue. I mean, think about this. You can have the crazy taxi guy and his supers, the crazy taxi comes into the frame. You have Shinobi. You have so many Sega characters. You could even have what's her La from Space Channel 9.
Yeah.
She got her little gun and she got her aliens come in and dance.
Jet Set Radio.
Yeah, you see
Jet Set Radio. Yeah,
these are characters that would fit so much in a Smash Bros. You can have the little dwarf from Golden Axe fighting up against Link,
then you can have your generic characters like Sega GT
Gilly Thunderhead, I think is his name.
Yes. Yep. And see, that's what I'm saying. Do you see what I'm saying? Right here, that is a way that Nintendo and Sega can say, hey, listen, we've had a war for years. Why not take all our big franchises, put it into a Smash game? And there's so many obscure things that these characters on Sega side did, just like Nintendo.
The kangaroo from Streets of Rage.
Dude, you're naming off stuff that would be amazing. Streets of Rage characters alone would be great in the game. You know what I mean?
Imagine Streets of Rage versus Final Fight?
Dude.
Is Golden Axe Sega?
Yeah, Golden Axe is Sega. That's why we're saying that, because there's so many Sega properties.
Oh, dude, the guy from Altered Beast.
Monkey Ball. You see all these characters that would be great in a Smash game?
Imagine the Space Harrier guy?
Yes. You're naming off so many things I've already said that I'm about to show you. I made pictures of these already, saying that if Nintendo, because they've already worked together so many times, why not make a Smash Brothers? I guarantee you, a Smash Brothers that was Nintendo versus Sega would sell like hotcakes, because the nostalgia of Sega right now is so huge.
I do like cakes.
Yeah. Yes. So am I wrong? Wouldn't that
hotcakes too? It's maple syrup and butter.
But I've always put that out there.
Yeah.
I
just
never
wanted to
understood
put
that saying. Where are pancakes really that popular?
What are the difference between hotcakes, flapjacks, and pancakes?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Just stupid people who call them dumb names.
How do we get into that? How do we go from Smash Brothers, Sega, Nintendo to that?
I don't know. We're way off topic because we're supposed to be talking about sequels. But
Anyway.
buddy, I like your idea. You don't even have to explain it anymore. It's
Yeah,
already a good.
I'm
idea.
sold. Yeah, I'm sold.
Yeah, like dude, yeah.
Sonic alone has like 35 characters you could use.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
Shadow the Bat, Amy, like.
Oh yeah, Shadow alone. He's got the guns from his other game. Like
Yeah.
Again, I'll have to show you guys on the side. It's what I've already set up like years back. That I set up years back, thinking this idea, and they never like. I wish I could talk to Nintendo and say, dude, you have money in the bank, and you already have Sega that's already basically working with you. I'm sure if you went to Sega and told them this idea, they'd be like, dude, this is gonna be big money. I know.
The only thing is Sega. It looks like Sega's in cahoots soon with Microsoft.
Oh, please don't tell me Microsoft's going to have my soul.
I don't know.
I will, because if that was to happen, you know what's going to happen. If Sega was like, okay, we're strictly going Microsoft, I may be selling my PS5. That's how far I'll go for the Hedgehog. That's how far I'll go for the Hedgehog. I'm telling you.
We'll see.
That's how much
we'll
I love
see.
Sonic.
Anyway, that's all, guys. We'll end it there. Let us know in the comments below what games you play that you want a sequel to, or whether you call them pancakes, hotcakes, or flapjacks. Maple syrup or Mrs. Butterworth? Aunt Jemima, pick one.
It's actually called Mill something.
Did we just make another Smash game like all these mascots, like McDonald's versus Burger King?
And on that note, remember that Burger King game where you had to be the Burger King? And
All right, guys, thank you for watching. This is not we're not going to relive Pepsi Man and Burger King guy.
Make a sequel to Burger King.
Burger King Sneak. It was a Sneak. It's a
Sneak King. Yeah. Get it, Sneak King. On that note, guys, thanks again for joining us, and we'll see y'all next time.
Peace.